Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that my stream's working fine. I'm Mosk. I did a manifesto before Cataclysm hit for what I thought was gonna be the best multi-boxing team, at least as far as Melee goes. And now the Cataclysm's been out for almost 2 months. I've had a lot of time to play with it at 85. And do a bunch of arenas and battlegrounds and stuff like that. So I feel like I've got a lot more that I kind of want to add about how I run the team and what my expectations are for the team, short term and long term. So I guess what I'm going to do is just go start to finish everything that I've got set up as far as macro goes and how IS Boxer goes. And then once I've explained everything, I'll show you a little bit of stuff on the test dummies as it runs. And then I guess when the whole thing is finished, I will go ahead and show you, I guess, the best way to describe it is why I think that this is going to work as an arena team. I guess ultimately is what it's going to come down to. We'll talk about what I've done to get there. So anyways, go ahead and don't mind McGrathy. He's showing off with his no Morlocks here. He just got him to 85, and he's trying to tell me the demo is the way to go. Anyways, when this whole thing's finished, I'm gonna go ahead and break it down, and we'll go with. I'll do like little markers in the post on the forum, so that you can just jump to the section that you'd like to get information on, so that you don't have to listen to the whole 30, 40 minutes, however long it is. So the first thing we're going to talk about, I guess, is my choice of healer. I know I've kind of went back and forth about priest, paladin, shaman, etc., etc., etc. I think the viability of this team, when you're talking about arenas, you need to have the paladin, because the bubble forces your opponent to have to choose one of the DKs as their primary target. No smart team are going to target your paladin first, because they know that the bubble is at least going to delay their DPS for 2 or 3 seconds. And especially with you being able to death grip people in, you get into these places where you can death grip in and be focusing the only people that can dispel your bubble. So I think Paladin is the best healer. Not to mention the fact that Paladin has got amazing throughput, especially when their clickies go through. They can really lay out the heals very, very quickly. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Shaman, I think, would also be a great healer. Being able to heal while you're dispelling would be awesome. The new Tremor Totem is amazing. I think there's a lot of really good things to be said about the other healers. As far as arenas goes, I really think that the Paladin's going to make the best healer. So let's go ahead and take a look quick, I guess, at how I spec'd him. Pretty simple. I'll just going to talk about what I didn't pick up, and basically, you don't really need Arbiter of the Light. You don't need the damage on this. You don't need to announce. You're not going to be doing damage with your paladin. This is the only talent in Holy that I wanted to pick up that I didn't really get a chance to pick up. But again, for arenas, I mean, you're probably never going to have your abilities cycle around with this team. I only put 1 point in Blessed Life because if you're getting focused, chances are you're getting hit enough that with the 8-second cooldown on it, you're going to get your holy power within a second or two. It's no problem. Light of Dawn is probably one of the worst talents I've ever seen. It's absolutely terrible. It has horrible throughput for healing. It's a terrible talent. If you just PvPing, don't pick it up. It's totally not worth it. You'd far rather have a 10k Word of Glory or 12k Word of Glory going off on your target. Out of Prod, I just picked up 3 points in Divinity, and then it was really important to me to get the 15% run speed. That's the reason here that I picked this up instead of picking up Guardian's Favor. I really enjoy the 15% run speed as compared to the 8% on boots. And also, getting a Holy Power whenever you stun, feared, or mobilize is kind of a big deal. I like that and I appreciate that. So that's what I went ahead and did here with the talent spec. For glyphs, it's pretty standard. Seal of Insight for 5% more healing, 5% crit on Holy Shock, and then the 10% healing on Word of Glory. I guess you could pick up Divine Favor, and that wouldn't be that bad. But I'm not 100% positive. I'm pretty sure it's dispellable. So kind of an up in the air thing. Honestly, I think no matter what, the Word of Glory is going to outperform. And then the others you're going to get are Cleansing, Beacon, and Hammer of Wrath. You don't really have a whole lot of options here. Again, you're not using Light of Dawn, so you don't need that terrible glyph. And then down here for minors, it's really simple. Insight and Blessing of Kings. I run Kings with the team. Yeah, and that's what I do. And then also with the Paladin, what I've done is I've set up a very cool. Um, Gosh, there's so much to talk about. I'm totally geeking out. I spent a lot of time playing with how I control the team. So basically, what you see here on the screen is you've got my I use grid and grid custom layouts along with click in order to heal. So here you can look at my click. So mouse wheel down is Holy Shock, mouse wheel up is Word of Glory. Right click runs a macro that clears my focus, and then it casts Flash of Light on the target. And then the middle mouse button is Divine Light, and then the Judgment and the Hammer and the Hodge are all only on enemy, so they don't interfere with the other keybinds. The reason that I have this clear focus macro set up here, I'm going to go ahead and show you in a second. What I've done is set it up so that when I'm arenaing, like say right now, you can see I don't have a focus target. Like there, I've got a focus target. So there's my clear focus macro. So with no focus, when I spam my single DPS button, you can see my DKs start DPSing their target. And I'm not doing any healing. My Paladin is not using any GCDs. And then I can manually control. Yes, arenaing is a word. Leave me alone, Dan. So you can see I manually control the healing here. Going, Word of Glory, Holy Shock, all that stuff. There's my cleansing. You can see all those going off. Now, what happens when I take a focus target? So there, this Death Knight is now my focus target right here. So now when I hit my DPS key, he heals for me, and here is how he heals. I have two macros, and they're right here. They're H main and H wog. So first it does a cast sequence, at my focus exists no dead, and it just does 2 flashes of light, and all it does is cycle through flash of light. And the reason we use cast sequence is because when you have a cast sequence with a cast time spell, you can put an instant cast spell, or well, you can even put a cast spell down here, and it will fall through to this one whenever it gets a chance after it casts the first ability on this one. So I've got cast at focus exists no dead, Holy Shock. So what happens is if I just sit here and I hit this button, while I have a focus target, I'm just going to sit here and hit the ability. It flashes a light, and then you can see here on the right side, it Holy Shocks every time the cooldown is up on Holy Shock, and it even uses the proc I get for a free Holy Shock. Okay. So then my second macro is cast sequence at focus exists no dead, reset equals combat, Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Word of Glory. Now the way that the second macro works is every time I Holy Shock, it will cycle through this macro, even if I didn't hit the macro in order to Holy Shock. So my Holy Shocks that I'm getting off of the H main are moving through the cast sequence on this macro too. So every time after I've Holy Shocked 3 times, I get a Word of Glory. Period. End of sentence. Now, I know this to certain snobby people that arena, this might seem like a stupid system, but let me go ahead and show you what I can accomplish with it really quickly. Okay, so my guys, they're DPSing their target. They're DPSing their target. I have no focus. Okay, all of a sudden, bam. Number 2, he's getting focused. So I'm sitting here and I'm spamming Flash of Light, and I'm Word of Glorying, and I'm Holy Shocking and Word of Glorying. Now, if I want to juke casting, all I got to do is just move a little bit on the Paladin, and you can juke heals just like you could if you were like solo running a healer, just like you would want them to do. And what this does is as I talked about in the first manifesto, to me it's really important that you can kind of minimize how much energy you spend thinking about what you're doing, because you've got so much stuff going on, you've got so much stuff you're trying to control. So it's really important that you can kind of you can kind of bunch everything together so that one button can accomplish as much as you possibly can without it being stupid, basically. So to me, having one button that is going to heal whoever's getting focused, no questions, no ifs, ands, or buts, very easily. Um, and I can even juke heals while I'm doing that, so that I'm not getting counterspelled or any of the other interrupts. Those are all really important to me. So that's the healing system I've got set up. And then when I'm off doing dailies and stuff like that, all I do is I hit my clear focus macro, or all I have to do is right click to flash a light somebody, and that clears the focus for me. So I don't have to hit this button every time I want to. I can just start healing people. So that's how I have my Paladin set up to heal, and pretty much that's my whole system with my Paladin. Um, let's see if there are any other macros I wanted to show you guys. Okay, yeah. So the way I have it set up is my 1 through 5 button will focus first. 1 focuses my Paladin, and then 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. And then also I had it set up so that I can do a particular mouse key to focus that person. But I'm really played around with that a lot. I would prefer to just hit 4 once. And the way these macros work is they clear focus and then focus Trivia Ball, so that they don't toggle focus back and forth in case you accidentally spammed the button more than once. So each time you hit it, it clears focus and then refocuses whoever you want. So focus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then those are the 2 healing macros. That's just cast speak into my main guy, and then it also, since I'm an alchemist, it puts up my buff. Uh, and then this huge macro. Almost all these abilities are off the global cooldown. So cast Divine Favor, cast Avenging Wrath, cast Guardian of Ancient Kings, cast Divine Protection, and cast Aura Mastery. All 5 of those are off the global cooldown, and what they do is turn your Paladin into Superman for 6 to 20 seconds. For 6 straight seconds, the entire time that Aura Mastery is up, you are a god. You're healing, you have a huge amount of spell haste going off, all of your heals get doubled by the Guardian of Ancient Kings for your first 5 single target heals, plus you're healing like 20% more through Avenging Wrath. With Aura Mastery up, you're either immune to interrupts or immune to silences, or you've doubled your resists. And then with Divine Protection, you are taking like 20% less damage. And then it also uses my guy's Trinket. Which one? This one. Increases his spell power. He's human, so I use every man for himself, and I want the resilience. So that's why I'm using 2 PvP trinkets. I guess that's a nice opportunity to segue into how I geared my Paladin. Obviously, it's all PvP gear. Pretty much all the gem slots are resilience, except for a few select ones that I use to make the meta work. Or where the gem slot bonus was worth it. And the reason is because resilience is one of the best scaling stats in the game right now. You'll get more bang for your buck out of resilience than any other single stat in the game. Like, there's no question. The amount of survivability that it gives you relatively, it's totally worth it. So that's pretty much how my Paladin works. Don't really have much more to say about him. So let's go ahead and go look at one of the DKs real quick. So a couple things. My guys are gnomes now, and I want to take this opportunity to say thank you, Dan, for blocking my gnomes with your gnomes who look like shit. So I know this is confusing. Let's deal with this portion of my bar first. So first off, I've got a Strangulate macro, except instead of just casting Strangulate, it's cast Blood Tap, cast Strangulate, with the concept being when I want to Strangulate, I need to Strangulate in less than 1 second, so I absolutely positively have to make sure that I have a rune for it, and I don't need to depend on not having a rune up. I would rather save my Blood Tap for Strangulate